Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of Colin and Greg Live right here on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. Thank you for joining us. It was a long night for me. I'm very tired. But Gry is a spring chicken right now.
Yeah, you're all
so
set.
we're ready.
You're feeling good. Everything's ready for you.
Greg, how did your Walking Dead?
19 hours.
Yep.
Of Telltale's The Walking Dead happened yesterday into this morning. I'm running about
to
3 hours. About 3 hours of sleep right now. I feel good. I feel.
Oh, do you feel good?
Yeah, that nap. You take that nap. It gives you that jump start. I'm sure in another 4 hours I'll be coming down, but I'll nap again and I'll come right back because I don't want to go to sleep. We get these little cat naps. Pop in, pop out.
That's the way Da Vinci used to do it.
Exactly. No, it was a great stream. Literally thousands of people came in throughout the 19 hours. Lots of people tipping us, giving us a lot of money. Lots of people thanking us.
Mic levels.
What is? I need more than that.
It says audio a bit scratchy for me. Mic levels, please. That audio though, you forgot to turn down the mics. Mics sound weird.
Okay.
Audio is muffled.
I'll bring you down to 7.
I don't know.
Bring you down to 7. There you go.
Oh, we're already at 0.
There you go.
We need a negative one.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Why not just shut off all the mics that we're not using?
That has nothing to do with it, is why. That has literally nothing to do with what's happening. They're just saying our mics are too high. We were turned up too high because we were turned up high for The Walking Dead.
I think we're better now.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, lots of people came out. Lots of good people were there. It was fun. Lots of good tips. A lot of good support. A lot of people supported us on Patreon. A lot of subs. A lot of people there just saying, "Hey, thank you for doing that," and just being down to spend 19 hours with me as I played The Walking Dead.
Now, I have a question for you about this and I'm wondering about the judicious nature of the time you used to play the game.
Right.
Do you think that it could have been shorter than 19 hours? For instance, you know the games really well.
Yeah.
You took little breaks, which makes sense to me. See, I would have done something a little differently. You gave away the prizes, and you waited to start the next game. I would have just started the next game, let the whole... and then gave away. I wonder if you could have shaved an hour or two. I almost want you to do it again, Greg. So what we're gonna do later this week is you're gonna stream the entire series again, and we're gonna see how much you can shave off.
The thing about it was, when we got to the credits is when I gave away all the games that Skybound, Robert Kirkman, Telltale, everybody was nice enough to send us to give away. That'll get sent out this week. But the problem is, I could have quit, and shaved off the credits, but then I'm not sure where it saves or what it does or where it puts anything out. You know what I mean? So it wasn't even worth doing that way. I didn't want to do that and then not know where my credit, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to make sure this was my perfect save. This is everything I wanted to happen in The Walking Dead, so that if Season 3 uses the save, it's there in pristine condition. All the people I wanted were dead that are dead. All the people I wanted alive.
So it went exactly the way you wanted it to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know these games and how to make what I want happen and how to kill who I want to kill.
And you got a new platy.
I did, yeah. 1 platinum in Season 1. Always sad that you didn't get the other. That's why I brought in my phone. Of course, or my phone, my Vita. Yesterday, Hello, Uncle Leo?
You are tired.
Yeah, yesterday, in the middle of it, of course, they do a fucking system update for the PlayStation 4. It's like, no longer sync unless I wanted it on the stream, go and update my fucking software. I was like, thanks, guys. Really, really good timing, jerk-offs. And so then on top of that, this is where it got terrifying last night. Or this morning, I guess, actually, about 6:30 in the morning today. There's all these screenshots of me like this buried in my head and my hands. Because I got to a part in the finale, Colin, where I'm trying to talk to someone at a truck. I know you haven't beaten it. And every time they went to a certain camera angle, it dropped to 1 frame a second.
Oh.
Just...
And this is a Telltale game.
Yeah, I know. Hard to believe. And so the text was popping up.
It's almost impossible.
So everybody's like
that would happen.
telling me to sync my trophies. Your PS4 is overheating. I'm like, the PS4 is not overheating. This is something wrong with the game. But still, even if I wanted to sync my trophies, even if I wanted to get out and upload my save, I couldn't do it because of the whole fucking firmware thing. So now I'm gonna remote play while we talk. Firmware up here. Get all this done. Get my trophies sunk off that bitch.
Okay. And then you can get inch just a little bit closer to respectability again.
Thank you. What are you at? I hit 26 last night. Where are you 26 now?
I don't know. I mean, look, I haven't looked in a while. I think I'm almost at 27. I think I'm like right on the verge. Let's see. Moriarty-IGN.
Moneymaker 110.
This is the confusing thing when I'm on PSN profiles and someone has been looking at my profile.
Yeah.
And I can't update it for... No, but it's like they update your profile for you and you can only do it every 60 minutes. Most of the time I go there, I can't do it to my own profile.
Gotcha.
It's not quite as fulfilling as I want it to be.
Yeah.
I'm at 26 and like right...
Oh, wow, 97, yeah.
97%.
Yeah, these games...
48 platinums. Once I get that order collectible, that'll be 49, and I assume I'll be getting the platinum in Stardust as well, so that...
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were cursing at that last night, right? I heard you screaming curse words.
Yeah, because I was explaining to my girlfriend about Super Stardust and Resogun and any game like that.
Yeah.
If you fuck up early...
It's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time, but if you fuck up in the middle... It really sucks because it's like it really is just a waste of time and you have to go back. If you want to get a good score or whatever, you can keep playing, but it's not a normal game. You don't play it like that.
Yeah.
So it's a very easy game to get mad at.
Oh yeah. One little thing goes wrong towards the end, and you're all, oh, here we go.
But I'm looking at my trophies, man. I got all like, God, man, I gotta like really pick it up because it's. I have like all these 0%, 3%, 15%. Like I hate. I want to delete some of these trophies.
Yeah.
I want to delete the 0% ones. I hate that you put a game in and you can't fucking do that.
Yeah, you can't even look at it. A Sleeping Monkey saying I yelled at him on the stream for falling asleep. He yelled at himself. He came in and apologized for failing all of us and going to bed. He deserved to be yelled at then. You brought that to your own house. Don't put that on me. Big Tony Sal here. We had a lot of good subs. Devin, the person in here who's working all the mod privileges, who's doing all the MooBot, who's doing all the Nightfall stuff. He was there the entire time. I had mods who stick with me the entire time. They were insane by the end. You could see their deliriousness in the way they were chatting and what they were saying. But they were there. Tons of people in the chat had stayed there the whole time. We have a great community we're building here.
Oh, we have an awesome community. Very appreciative of the community. Speaking of the community.
Greg, why?
Podcast Beyond last week was our last Podcast Beyond.
Right.
I want to let everyone out there know Podcast Beyond continues without us, and we wish them the very best, obviously. But as a sort of a little surprise for everyone today, on Kind of Funny Games, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, we put up a PlayStation-centric one-off episode.
Right.
Just to let you know we're still here and hanging out with you. I'm wearing my Sunset Overdrive shirt. Not the best timing.
Like a real PlayStation fanboy would
Not
do.
the best timing, but this is all about our favorite games, our top 3 games, basically, on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation Vita. And it's a great podcast. It was Tim's idea, and I think it was an awesome idea to do a podcast about that. So definitely go check that out, because I think that will put some of your minds at ease.
What makes it different, of course, is that it's an entire Gamescast up right now, an hour and 12 minutes, not broken up at all. And then it's also immediately on the Gamescast podcast feed, so you can go get it there.
So go check it out. It will be in audio.
It isn't yet?
But it will be.
Okay.
No, is that what you're saying?
I was telling them that it's up already.
Oh, okay.
I preloaded it at like 3 in the morning last night. Tim was supposed to take care of it. I'll check into it.
Perfect. Because people were asking me that, and I didn't really know exactly what
it's up. It's published. It's all there for you.
All right, Greg. There's actually a lot of Xbox news and Nintendo news today, but there's something I want to touch on first. And this is about The Last Guardian. And yesterday I was trying to tell people, and some people were like, you're crazy at this point about The Last Guardian, that The Last Guardian is still in development. It's obviously still in development. What was the reason I said that? Is because Sony insists that it's still in development, and if they were lying to you, then that would be kind of an unforced error, right, on their part, and a little bit of a blunder. Rob Crossley at GameSpot writes a story today. It says, The Last Guardian still in development, Sony assures.
Ah, yay.
And it says, PlayStation team quells rumors following abandoned trademark. And the story reads, The Last Guardian's trademark in the US has been abandoned, but it appears this was due to an administrative error at PlayStation America.
Oh, no.
As Sony has confirmed to GameSpot that the project is still in development.
Oh,
According to documentation on the United States Patent and Trademark Office, the group sent Sony a notice in July last year informing that the trademark needed to be extended. Although Sony has since 2013 habitually extended the game's trademark and made no action following the most recent request, as such the trademark was canceled. However, amid speculation surrounding what this means for the protracted and troubled project, Sony has told GameSpot that it can, quote, can confirm that The Last Guardian is still in development, end quote. The Last Guardian has now been in development for more than half a decade after being formally announced in 2009, though director Fumito Ueda has said his creative contribution to the project was completed, quote, long time ago. I think that that's somewhat inaccurate. The game has been in development more like 9 years at this point. If you assume Team Ico took a whole year off after Shadow of the Colossus. Nonetheless, the game is still in development and still real, and I told you guys not to worry about it, but some of you guys weren't listening to me. That said, I didn't expect that it was because their lawyers screwed up. I expected it was because they were renaming the project.
Litigious in nature, someone dropped the ball.
So that's surprising, and someone's probably going to lose their job over that.
Oh.
You have to assume that's a big deal.
Yeah, oh, I know.
You know, like
this
what if
game that they want so many of the fucking news stories that are nonsense that just keep reminding people that this game is a failure and it's taking too long. They want them to stop until they're ready to say, here's the fucking game, and here's like some fucking pencil pusher over it. Sony HQ screws it up, doesn't do it. You know who probably? Ryan Clements. He probably didn't file it away.
It is Ryan Clements.
He left the envelope on his desk. He forgot to stamp it.
Type it at his typewriter and. Yeah. All right, so let's jump into some Xbox news.
Okay.
This news particularly is about, well, there's a few pieces of news, but what I want to touch on first are some great sales that are going on Xbox 360 and especially Xbox One right now. So for all of our Xbox One users out there, and of course Xbox 360 legacy users, there's some things to take note of this week. First, this week's deals with gold, according to Major Nelson, and I emailed you all this, by the way.
Did you?
Yes.
I see what the problem is.
So this week's deals with gold are for Xbox One. You can get Duck Dynasty for 50% off, and Grand Theft Auto 5 and free Bull Shark cash card. I have no idea what the hell that means.
A Bull Shark
for
cash
15%
card.
off. So Grand Theft Auto 5 for 15% off. That's on Xbox One. And these discounts, by the way, are valid now through February 23rd. So you have a little bit of time. On Xbox 360, there are more games. Let's see. World of Tanks, I guess add-on and DLC, 33% to 50% off. Duck Dynasty on Xbox 360 on Games on Demand, 50% off. Battle Stations Pacific, Battle Stations Midway, Dungeon Siege 3, Tomb Raider Underworld, Tomb Raider Anniversary, Supreme Commander 2, Kane and Lynch 2, and Grand Theft Auto 5, Games on Demand on Xbox 360 are all between about 50% off and 84% off, depending on the game you buy. So some good deals there for our Xbox fans. So keep that in mind.
Got it.
Furthermore, and I think that this is somewhat even maybe more interesting here, is that they're doing an Ultimate Game Sale beginning, it looks like, tomorrow. And this comes from a NeoGAF user. And the NeoGAF user's name here is Majin, I don't know. But
Majin.
So on Xbox, and I'm not sure that this is even out yet. I think this somehow leaked, or this person somehow got this information. But the Ultimate Game Sale is from February 18th to February 24th, as you see in this one image here. And there's going to be a lot of sales, it looks like, that people are going to want to take advantage of. Halo Master Chief Collection Bundle, Killer Instinct Complete, Shadow of Mordor, Walking Dead Season 1 and 2 Bundle are all between 25 and 50% off, between 40 and 60% off if you're a gold member.
Mordor is just the season pass, or is that?
Oh yeah, this is the season pass, I'm sorry.
Just making sure.
And then it says, quote-unquote, ultimate offers, and if you scroll down, you can see some of those here. So it's like Alien Isolation, Advanced Warfare, The Crew, Destiny, Forza, Trials Fusion, etc. And those are all for Xbox One games, it looks like. And then ultimate value deals, whatever the hell that means. I guess these are the deepest of all of the these particular discounts.
These are the ultimate deals.
Costume Quest, NBA Live 15, Lords of the Fallen, etc. So I just wanted to bring that up to some people. If you scroll down even more, there's just some text here with the 360 deals if you want to get some Xbox 360 games for significant. So like 67% off Dead Island Riptide, Dark Souls, Far Cry 3 is cheap, etc. So I just wanted to throw that out there for our Xbox fans. If you have some money burning a hole in your pocket in your wallet there on Xbox Live, this might be a good time for you to strike while the iron's hot.
That's a hot noise, like the iron was hot.
I appreciate that
like
very
water
much.
on it.
I appreciate that very much.
That's what I do for you, buddy.
Gregory,
Yeah.
some Nintendo news came out overnight as well that I think is interesting, and I'm going to start with this Amiibo stuff because
Amiibos.
Amiibos are all the rage. And
Yeah,
Nintendo,
Amiibos
according
is
to
goddamn
Eddie
things.
over at GameSpot, wrote that Nintendo has sold 5.7 million Amiibo toys to date.
Get out of here, Australia.
But what's more interesting is this chart, and I'm interested in the popularity of these various Amiibos by territory. Now, first of all, the thing that stuck out to me the most, Mega Man nowhere on any of these lists.
Well, I don't think he was out yet, right?
Rockman, as they call him.
He's out. You remember, he got delayed. I ordered him for you for Christmas. He was supposed to get here this month-ish. I got an email that he was delayed from GameSpot, and then I saw that Brian Altano motherfucker with one. I'm like, God damn it. This is one of the few times in the internet times where going to the store and hunting these things down and having your Amiibo network that him and Jose have created works. Where they have like their little people in their back alleys passing off these goddamn Amiibos.
Agreed.
I'm here like a schlub waiting for GameStop to get it together.
Well, you did what you thought was best.
Yeah.
But, I mean, does anything stick out to you? So it's like Link is most popular everywhere but Australia.
That's weird. He's third place all of a sudden in Australia. That's weird.
Captain Falcon, only in Japan, is on the list.
Yeah.
Samus seems to be more popular in the West generally than in Japan. Little Mac is only on the Japanese list. I mean, this is just an interesting kind of breakdown. And this is what I like about Nintendo, by the way, is that
They get the weird stats.
they just release tons of statistics, which I think is awesome, because a lot of other companies, especially Sony, is very corned off and weird about that shit.
Yeah.
Like, they don't talk about it. Nintendo just gives stats away all day.
Yeah,
and like even goes back and updates their legacy stats, which I think is really awesome. Like they update stats for games sold like a long time ago, you know, based on virtual console sales and stuff. So I thought people would dig that particular chart. But there's more Amiibo news.
Okay.
And this one comes from Kotaku,
Oh.
Brian Ashcraft, who says Amiibos will unlock NES and Super NES games.
Wow, that's awesome.
And his story reads, now you can buy Amiibos, you collect them. You can scan them in, but Nintendo says Amiibos can and will be so much more in the future. Nintendo says they'll unlock NES and Super NES games, well, parts of them. In a recent investors meeting, Nintendo exec Satoru Iwata outlined the company's Amiibo's plan. Quote, "We are also planning a free download app for Wii U in which you can enjoy NES and Super NES games with your Amiibo in the first half of the year. With this app, once you tap your Amiibo on the NFC area of the gamepad, you will be able to play highlighted scenes of one certain title for NES or Super NES."
That sounds weird.
Yeah. It won't be possible to play full games, however. There is a time limit, in quotes. But if players... Oh, seems like a typo maybe, but if players touch their Amiibo again on the NFC reader, they'll be able to play another part of the game.
Interesting.
So this seems to be like a clever way to maybe get you in and buy some virtual console stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Nonetheless, I think that's kind of neat.
No, it's a cool idea. That's what we were talking about, right? And somebody else was talking about this too, of the fact that that's the future people are buying more Amiibos in, when it's just you can go to the store and you buy this little toy and it comes with, Mario 1, 2, and 3, and it comes with Link to the Past, you know what I mean? When there's something motivating you to buy this one-off exclusive Amiibo, even if you're not a collector, because right now everybody's a collector, right? That's why people are buying them.
Let's stick with it. I feel like it makes most sense to stick with the Nintendo news, and maybe it even makes most sense to stick with Kotaku right now and Brian Ashcraft, another story he wrote, Nintendo really likes Metacritic. Oh. And I saw this floating around today, and I don't think it's quite as nefarious as people think it is, but the story reads, and it says official Metacritic seal with the interesting thing. I sent it to you, right? There it is. This is actually rather sad. At an investor, and this is according to Brian Ashcraft.
Yeah.
At an investors meeting today, Nintendo president Satoru Iwata talked a lot about how great Nintendo's Metacritic scores are, even going as far to brag that Nintendo's current releases have higher Metacritic numbers than Sony's or Microsoft's. Congrats. Keep in mind that Iwata is talking to boring investor types. That and the Metacritic chest thumping is depressing. So you can see the chart here, and I don't know if we can click on it to make it bigger.
Does it do that, and then it's like, you want to add a comment?
All right, so basically what it's saying is that Nintendo 3DS plus Wii U has 19 titles on Metacritic 85 or 8.5 up and up for Metacritic score and user score, while PS4 plus Xbox One plus Vita only have 8. And I think this is an interesting statistic. I don't really see the problem about it. I think Metacritic is destructive in the sense that scores are dumb on reviews. And Kotaku, long ago, to their credit, seeing maybe ahead of time a little bit, noticed that we should get out of the scoring game, and so they did.
Yeah.
And so I think that they understand this a little bit better than some other people. Nonetheless, they released this image, and I guess they put this on their official Facebook page at the end of last year as well. So basically, they're talking a little bit about the kind of the confused messaging about, like, so what? Metacritic says this, but I guess, like they say in their own story, they're talking to their investors. And so to say, like, well, our games might not be selling well, but and that's not true either. They are selling well, but we have the quality. So we're doing that right, I think is an interesting thing. So this story's been floating around the internet this morning, and I wanted to point that out to some folks.
I understand. Metacritic gets a bad rap right now, I think, with our industry types. It's the easiest way to express to an investor who doesn't understand everything how well they're doing compared to Sony and Microsoft, especially when you can't compare sales, right? Not only are you not, if you're Nintendo, are you not really going after that audience and that demographic, you get trounced when you talk about those, right? And it looks terrible. Whereas this, they can speak to the fact of, like, we're always talking about Nintendo games come out and they are flawless. They aren't broken. They don't need a patch. There isn't a story about how these developers have a game that can't connect to online.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why it was such a big deal, as we've talked about before, about when Metroid Other M was broken on Wii U, or Wii, the original Wii for some people. That was such a big deal because they didn't even have a patching network in place because their games were so nailed down.
It's never happened.
I'll forever give them credit for that. Let's stick with Nintendo news because, again, it makes the most sense. Over at GameSpot, Chris Pereira writes a story about how Zelda's Wii U open world is as big as the system can handle.
Damn, that sounds awesome.
And IG Anuma takes issue with the open world description, but not for the reason you might think.
Okay.
The story briefly reads, we've had glimpses of just how big the world will be in the new Legend of Zelda game for Wii U. According to longtime series producer IG Anuma, the world is as big as can be managed on the system. Quote, a huge, seamlessly unfolding world is something that can't be achieved if the hardware isn't advanced enough. Ever since we made the very first generation of Legend of Zelda games, though, we've had a large as world as can be realized with the hardware, so you can say it was inevitable that we've done the same thing with the new Wii U title. This is according to an interview with Anuma at Game Reactor magazine. The new game, according to GameSpot, which does not have an official title as of yet beyond the Legend of Zelda for Wii U, was unveiled at last year's E3.
We know her.
Given the scale of what was on show, it was frequently referred to as the public as an open world game. Anuma, however, takes issue with the description, not because it's inaccurate, but because, quote, Zelda games have always allowed you to roam and explore a huge world, end quote, which is true, to a degree. There are definitely Zelda games that are less open than others. And he says, according to Anuma, what distinguishes the open world scene in the game from that of previous Zeldas is that now this is one seamless world. Quote, what's changed now is that the hardware has progressed to the point now that you can explore this vast world seamlessly. The underpinning of the game hasn't changed. So that makes sense to me. What they're basically saying is according to having these cordoned off, if you think of Ocarina of Time, which you can kind of see in your head, and how that world map reached into and branched into all these different sections.
Yeah.
I think what he's basically saying is that that just doesn't happen anymore. Because Ocarina of Time would look a lot bigger than it does if you didn't have to load all those new areas.
Sure.
And then there are some
if it
smaller
all just
games.
flawlessly ran together.
Exactly. I think of Majora's Mask, for instance, as a much more tight and concise game, as opposed to the original Zelda or Zelda 2 especially, which are huge maps, or Link to the Past, which are 2 maps, etc. So anyway, that seems to make a lot of sense to me.
I'm sure everyone at GameSpot is watching us do Colin Rig Live, but I just want to give them credit. This shot is really sexy. And then he was doing some great one-on-one shots of him, and then the way it's edited together really, really well. Even though we couldn't hear him when they were talking about the bow and arrow, and then they cut to Alexa doing the bow and arrow. I was like, that's pretty fucking dope. Ours would just be us in front of my fucking TV talking about it.
We've talked about Xbox.
Yeah.
And we've talked about Nintendo. Let's talk about PlayStation now.
Ah, no.
We're returning back to the Order 1886 in this.
Our Gate.
Our Gate. Let's call it Our Gate.
Is that what they're calling it?
I don't know. You coined it.
All right, good, everybody. Our Gate is upon us.
At DualShockers, Giuseppe Nelva wrote a story that says PS4 exclusive The Order 1886, average playtime between 8 and 10 hours estimated by Ready at Dawn. Now, again, we've played the game, I've beaten the game, we are embargoed, we cannot talk about the game till Thursday morning.
Yeah.
However, we are going to report on this particular news.
ZOU, I am Havoc.
The story reads briefly at DualShockers, many estimates have been made about the time necessary to complete Ready at Dawn's upcoming PS4 exclusive, The Order 1886. At an event in Milan, CTO Andrea Pacino finally answered in detail the topical question asked by the audience. According to Pacino, Ready at Dawn's internal metrics show that if you play the game at a normal pace and difficulty level, you can finish the game in a window between 8 and 10 hours. If you play in hard mode or take your time to seek out every single little detail, you'll probably clock in about 12 hours or more. Pacino also admitted that yes, if you rush through the game, skipping everything you can probably manage the game to clear the game in 5 hours, 5.5 hours. Considering the reports we're seeing on social media and forums for those that already played the game, those seem to be realistic estimates. Ultimately, how much playtime you'll get from the Order 1886 depends mostly on you. And I think that that's a really good point because we've talked about it before. When I reviewed The Last of Us, I think in my review I said something like, this is like a 16-hour game, but it's because of the way I played it. Some people beat it in 10 or 12 or even less than that, but they're not quite as thorough, or they're not exploring the world and trying to find collectibles and all those kinds of things.
They're not trying to look for every trophy they can.
You can rush through any game and make it as quick as possible. Mario 1 is an under 10-minute game if you want to beat it that quickly, or it can take you hours. So this seems to be a level-headed kind of approach to it, and I'm interested to see. Well, we'll talk about it more on Thursday.
It's a no-win situation when you're a developer, because people ask you this question of how long is your game, and like you're like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like as long as you want it to be, like, you know what I mean? There's no easy way to do it. If you're joining the chat late, of course, Thursday, 5 a.m., 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. GMT, we'll be able to talk about the Order. We'll be streaming it. We'll have video on demand up on YouTube as well, so you can actually get our impressions of what we thought of the whole thing. But that's our embargo, and we're sticking to it.
Let's jump away from games for a moment.
Oh, good.
Go to Variety. Jason Klein over at Variety wrote a story about digital audience ratings, and it's at the very top. It says, ladies love The Flash, Netflix's Bloodline trends. And I thought that these were interesting little charts as well. So basically it says, provided by Listen First Media, DAR, TV measures what entertainment content is resonating most across Facebook, Google+, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, and Wikipedia combined. So there's a methodology there, and they say you can read more about the methodology. But basically, what it's saying here, according to Listen First Digital Audience Rating, DAR, is there's some interesting stuff here. So The Voice is huge. I had no idea The Voice was this big. Glee, still hanging around, America's Got Talent, Empire, etc. Empire's new.
Are they making new episodes of Glee still? Glee's still a new thing? Jesus.
I guess. It says between February 9, 2015 and Sunday, February. And then The Simpsons is still on there, The Vampire Diaries, etc. American Idol, which apparently is struggling mightily. So there, The Flash.
Yeah. Remember when you were talking about that shit? Good ratings for the CW when you did this news?
Well, well, I mean, its ratings are, or its rating here is...
First though, brother, it's a top 10 show.
For cable, this is where it gets more interesting, because that's broadcast TV. For cable and streaming, so this is where things I think get a little more interesting. Top Gear, which is a really funny show. I don't like cars, but I've watched that show. Mark Ryan, our friend at IGN, really loves that show. He turned me on to it. That show makes you laugh, man, and it's still going. The Walking Dead, huge. Pretty Little Liars, huge. Key and Peele, which I haven't watched in a couple of years.
Hilarious.
Game of Thrones, hanging tight. Dance Moms, which I know is your favorite show.
Oh, I love that Dance Moms. Moms are so hot.
WWE Raw, still hanging out. Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
coming into the chart. And I watched an episode of that yesterday, actually.
Real quick, I want to point out what a great headline this is. 50 Shades of Grey is a... Fuck, I gotta click on it knowing what the headline is. What is it?
No ellipsis. And then Late Night. I don't think anyone's surprised by this Jimmy Fallon's first, Kimmel second, Conan third, SNL,
okay.
which became somewhat more relevant because of the 40th anniversary celebration this week. And then John Oliver.
John Oliver coming on strong.
So, yeah, that's it. I just wanted to share that with people. I thought that was pretty interesting. And the methodology is really cool, too, because I think it's much more accurate to look at how people are talking about things on social media than to look at Nielsen ratings, for instance, because it doesn't take into account something like House of Cards. And I'll be interested to see when House of Cards comes out if it falls on this chart.
It's got to, man. I can't wait for House of Cards.
Greg, we jumped away from games, and I want to just jump right back in.
Good. I'm glad we got out of our comfort zone. I didn't like it. Felt weird. Tingles where I don't want tingles.
Wesley Copeland over at IGN wrote about Square Enix. And the Square Enix Collective, which is something we talked about, I think, back in 2013. That was kind of a piece of news about how Square is kind of, I don't want to say crowdsourcing, but kind of trying to revive some old IP and figuring out what they're doing. The story by Stuart Copeland. Stuart Copeland is the drummer of the Police. Wesley Copeland.
What if he was writing stories over for IGN? He's just freelancing on the
side. Some hard times now. It says Square Enix wants developers to pitch ideas for Gex, Fear Effect, and Anachronox. And the story reads, basically, Square Enix owns the Gex, Fear Effect, and Anachronox properties. And it says that they want new pitches, and this news comes via the Square Enix Collective, a platform started in 2013 to help developers find an audience for their current projects. As of today, developers can not only pitch original works, but also neglected Square properties. So this is pretty cool. Quote, and this comes from Collective project lead Phil Elliott. He says, quote, I'm excited to see what talented teams might do with any one of Gex, Fear Effect, or Anachronox's IPs. We'll monitor the response carefully before deciding which IPs to release next. And it goes without saying that we're delighted for the whole Goetia team, I don't know what that is, as they become the latest member of the Collective family along Moonhunters and Black the Fall and hitting their funding targets. Okay, so he's referring to this team that hit a Kickstarter goal of $30,000. Basically, I wanted to talk about this not particularly because of what Square Enix is doing or because I think Gex is particularly interesting. It's not. Fear Effect was kind of cool. Anyway, these properties are dormant or dead for a reason.
Yeah.
But it's because this is a great idea to say, hey guys, like we have these dead IP, but we own them in perpetuity, so what can we do with them?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty neat. And what comes to mind for me is why doesn't Sony do this?
Yeah.
Or Nintendo. And Nintendo probably wouldn't do it, but why wouldn't Sony do something like this?
Yeah. Medieval.
I mean, dude, like there's a million games. I'm going like I look at this every once in a while. There's
Siphon Filter.
There's
Since Eric Jensen will get off his ass.
First party one. Yeah, so this is a list of games published by Sony. And if you just look at some of these games that are just like Ark the Lad, Colony Wars, The Getaway.
The Getaway would be
awesome. You know, they just have these things and people would make games. And so I think it's a brilliant idea, and I hope that, you know, for all the falling that Square Enix has done with some of its own properties, it's reacted very well in other ways, I think, too, in getting some new properties and also identifying the old things that might be relevant to people. If a developer can take something like Gex and make it relevant, then there's no reason why you shouldn't release it. So hopefully this trend, I think, continues, and especially the first parties, take note and
say, like, Parappa the Rapper back out.
That'd be awesome, dude. I love Parappa the Rapper. The second one was a huge disappointment, but the first one wasn't. The first one was very
First one wasn't a disappointment. Thanks for resubbing, Drat Trigger.
Someone said Patapon, which I know you would love.
Yes, I'd love a new Patapon. Come on, shoe.
All right, so back to Xbox and our friend Wesley Stuart Copeland.
Okay, thank you.
Writes about Halo Nightfall and how it gets a digital release date. Halo Nightfall will release digitally on March 17, 2015, according to his story on IGN. The live-action show is set between Halo 4 and the forthcoming Halo 5 Guardians and follows the story of Jameson Locke, a bounty hunter type and agent at the Office of Naval Intelligence. Jameson Locke.
God forbid these guys in bed and up at noon. I did with the, you know, come on. I have an up at noon with the star of the goddamn Halo Nightfall show embedded. This is why Up at Noon didn't do the numbers people wanted. Nobody thinks about it. DubV_Chan, thanks for the resub. All
right, so I got distracted there.
It happens. Happens to the best of us.
So that show is coming, if you're interested in that, on March 17th. It will be available, presumably, on Xbox, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it in the story.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I'm trying to read the story.
Yeah, it's Xbox.
Xbox. I don't see it anywhere, though. That's what I'm saying.
I understand. I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you. It's not your fault. Thank you, Under56, for the resub.
Greg, I sent you, let's talk about Vita, our good friend Vita. At the very bottom of the list I sent you, there's a game called Dead Man's Cross coming out. I want to see what people think about this game, because I was looking at screenshots. If you scroll down for this game, this looks kind of cool. Like, I don't know, like, and if you go over to the next one, there's cards, and then
Cockroach.
It's like a card battling game.
Okay.
And then there's all of these weird characters. If you scroll down to the next Because it shows like they're just showing screenshots here that aren't actually in the story.
Oh, okay.
So it's,
We'll keep talking about it. Let me jump back to the thing then.
we'll just go back to the story.
It would have been 4:15. I doing the best I can, Colin. That's how you get back to the story without revealing my email.
How would you reveal your email by pressing back on that browser?
You wanted to go back because you'd make fun of me for 15 times for doing this.
No, I'm making
You
fun
would've.
of you.
You
I'm making
would've.
fun of you.
You would've.
Yeah,
You would have made fun of me.
Your temper is showing because you're tired and you haven't slept much.
My temper shows every day.
You do have a bad temper. It's a little weird. Because I usually am known for having the bad temper, but
Yeah.
you actually are the one with the bad temper. Nonetheless, I wanted to get everyone's feeling on this game because this was the screenshot I was talking about. There just seems to be quest-based and strange.
Yeah.
The zombie thing I'm kind of over. Card battling, I
is
don't
it
know, but I just wanted to kind of get people's take on this game because I don't know.
You had me up until card battle. Then I was like, oof, no thanks.
So I just want to see.
So what have you grasped? Is it just it's a battle thing where I'm in the zombie apocalypse here or something?
But presumably, it just struck me as something like we haven't gotten a new interesting Vita game in a while. Like that is a Vita. And it seems like this game might be even
Criminal
native.
Worlds Invite only.
Dead Man's Cross. I don't know. It was just something I wanted to bring up because I was just like, this game seems interesting.
A zombie card battle.
Oh, so this
RPG
probably is a
with
PC
over
game.
4 million downloads. Coming to PlayStation Vita.
I don't know. Interesting to me. I don't know if it'll be good.
Yeah, no, I
don't know if it'll be bad.
That's not your job yet. When it's out and you've played it, then you get to say if it's good or bad.
Anyway, I reached out to see if we can get a copy of the game so that we can test it. Maybe we'll stream it this week. I don't know, but I wanted to just throw that out there because we haven't given Vita a lot of love on the show right now.
Well, there's nothing really love.
Exactly, and that's why I think that maybe this is something. Maybe this is something. I don't know.
Now, is this the real reason you liked it so much? Because George Washington takes 2,594 damage.
Yeah, that's weird.
George Washington is defeated.
Well, I wouldn't like that. Why would I
George
want
Washington's out there, man. His wooden teeth biting people.
that? Just a couple more pieces of news, Greg, and then we'll jump into the comments.
Okay.
This will be a rather quick episode, and that's okay because
That's okay.
we can have more time to talk to our people, and also, you're cranky, you're tired, you should probably go to bed.
Okay.
Quick piece of news by Emily Guerra at Polygon that I thought would be interesting, especially for Terraria fans. The makers of Terraria announced Terraria Otherworld. And the story's brief. It just says, Terraria developer Relogic and Engine Software have announced plans for a new title in the game's universe, Terraria Otherworld. Otherworld, which was confirmed with the unveiling of a newly launched website, isn't a sequel. Instead, it is being described as an offshoot of the original release. Terraria Otherworld is set in an alternate dimension within the Terraria universe and will explore what, quote, might have been, end quote, according to the official site. Wanted to throw that out there because, man, there are some passionate Terraria fans out there. And I'm not really a fan. I've not hardly messed with the game. It's just not a game I'm gonna jump down and get all nitty gritty with.
Yeah.
Because there's just not enough time
Sure,
in my
I
life
hear you.
to do those kinds of things. Nonetheless, I know there's a lot of Terraria fans out there, and this will be very relevant to those people out there.
Yeah, it's the fan base for Terraria is crazy. I was in GameStop the other day, right? That's the one. Yeah, and the one that sells games. And they had the box copy there and like all the stuff around it. I was like, oh damn, man, I didn't realize like this was enough to drive people to GameStop to have it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's one interesting piece of news.
This trailer's not that exciting.
The Verge has a story going back to Xbox One. No one can complain that there's no Xbox news on this. We have tons of Xbox news today. They just have to announce things.
Yeah, exactly. When they make news, we'll talk about it.
Tom Warren over at The Verge writes, Microsoft is ready to unleash Xbox One apps. And I thought this was an interesting story because it's kind of harkening back to what I think Xbox One's original mission statement was, which is to be more than a gaming console. And the story reads, Microsoft is planning to open up its Xbox One apps platform in a big way this summer. While the software maker has remained consistently quiet about its timing for cross-platform or universal apps running on its gaming console, sources familiar with Microsoft's plans tell The Verge that the company will start to allow more and more apps on the Xbox One by the end of the year. Microsoft is planning to detail its plans fully at the company's Build Developer Conference in April, but we understand they'll involve allowing developers to turn retail Xbox One units into developer kits. That's a huge deal. Microsoft will also publish an SDK preview in May alongside the retail to DevKit Switch, and both will be available publicly for developers to start creating apps in the summer timeframe. Microsoft currently restricts Xbox One app development to a small group of app developers, and this new program will open them up to everyone. So basically, I thought this was interesting, not only for the turning normal Xbox Ones into dev kits, which makes a lot of sense for a more wide open and easily accessible ecosystem, but this brought into my mind, well, are we now going to be able to hire some people to make the Kinda Funny app for Xbox?
No, because we don't spend money. We pinch our pennies just in case it all dries up one day.
Except that Keurig. You guys had to have that new
That
Keurig.
Keurig we had to have. That Nick still won't clean to fucking make me a cup of coffee.
Anyway, props to Microsoft because I think that's a really forward-thinking move. I'm not sure if Sony could do that with the PlayStation 4. Like, this is something you have to build in, I think, endemically when you're building the system to turn into a dev kit.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of the days, and this is really a throwback, and I'm not sure how people are going to remember this, but there used to, back in the PS1 era, there used to be a black PS1 you could buy for about $1,000 called Net Your Rosie. And,
I remember
and
this.
it was only, I think, one game of any consequence came from it, but it was basically a way for normal people to buy a PlayStation dev kit and make games. And Net Your Rosie was just a PS1 that was black instead of white, and it had some extra features or whatever.
This is a Beyond question, right? A 300?
Yeah. And I really coveted a Net Your Rosie when I was a kid because I just thought, I can make a game.
Oh, make my own game. Make my own
Played with
Revolutionary War RPG.
Played RPG Maker, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. So people have always been, game developers and game creators have always been messing around with kind of the accessibility question, and I think this is kind of hitting the nail on the head, that the unit you already have is the accessible unit. As opposed to leasing at $10,000 a piece or whatever, a PlayStation 4 piece of hardware, and having the permission and the licensing or whatever, the console in your house can become the development system, and I think that's pretty neat.
That was one of the cool things with the Xbox One, the fact that you don't need a separate dev kit for it. You know what I mean? The dev kit, you had it work and run the retail, and the retail can run the dev or whatever. That was always nice. I think there might be something you have to mod to it, but you can have, if you're in the industry and you just want one to play unreleased games, you can have that, and then it can play the same thing. Whereas with PlayStation, we have to have two of everything.
And finally, piece of science news, because we can't go anywhere. I was going to bring up that Pluto picture again, so you can just look at it from some more.
Just watch the things spin around?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
This is by Rebecca Morel at BBC News. Mystery Mars haze baffles scientists.
Uh-oh. The fog.
She writes, and by the way, I'm going to just critique this piece a little bit after we're done. Okay. And I want to see what you think about this. I haven't even read it, but I'm looking at it.
Already you have something to say.
A mysterious haze high above Mars has left scientists scratching their heads, according to Rebecca.
Just according to Rebecca.
The vast plume was initially spotted by amateur astronomers in 2012 and appeared twice before vanishing. Scientists have now analyzed the images and say that the formation, stretching for more than 1,000 kilometers, is larger than any seen before. Writing in the journal Nature, the researchers believe the plume could be a large cloud or an exceptionally bright aurora. However, they are unsure how these could have formed in the thin upper reaches of the Martian atmosphere. So there's some interesting pictures here about what's going on there. Oh, nice. And it's just so funny to me that we pay people, and we should, to just analyze astronomical, random things on Mars. Like, it's not relevant at all, yet it is very interesting.
Yeah.
And that is kind of what we do with video games as well.
Sure. The Martians are watching our stream right now. They're like, I can't believe people get paid for this.
But I love that, and what I love about this too, Greg, because we were talking about this, the reason this story kind of stuck out to me is that this was noticed by amateur astronomers. And we were talking yesterday a lot about amateur astronomy back in the day and the discoveries that a lot of these people made or whatever, and their contribution to the field. And I was reading more about it yesterday when I was reading more about Event Horizons. That apparently there are only like 5,000 or 6,000 people in the United States that are paid astronomers, that get paid in any respect to be astronomers, and that a lot of the research that they get is supplemented by people doing it for free, like amateur astronomers. Anyway, I thought that news was interesting. Now, Greg, on a more... We're writers, right?
Yeah, at a glance,
Can you tell me what I'm going to say?
Yeah, why are there all these one-sentence paragraphs?
I hate this shit. I fucking hate when people write like this.
Yeah.
Like
Here's a thought.
ESPN does this too,
Here's a thought.
And it's like, why are you putting spaces, like whole paragraphs in between every sentence?
All these carriage breaks here.
It doesn't make any sense. It looks like shit. The story's fine. Rebecca's a totally capable writer. Why is she putting all of these things in this particular order? Like, the vast plume, so these first two paragraphs should be one paragraph, right? No, I'm not even talking about, because that's the subhead. But like the vast and scientist, one paragraph. The next one, writing and however, could be one paragraph. And then
quote stands alone.
The so stands alone, and then that could be one paragraph. Then, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I hate that. So I'm glad you noticed. Because I'm noticing this disturbing trend.
Gambolino Man says it's because of dumb people, so dumb people can read it. A lot of dumb people are cracking up the BBC's science and environment news to read about the Mars haze.
Yeah, if you're clicking on this, link,
you're up for reading a couple paragraphs. Yeah. You're up for anything. It's like a Bud Light commercial. They click here and there's just these girls with Bud Light. They're like, hey, we only put this here for one of the people who are up for anything.
I mean, to me,
time to get sexy.
People critique my writing all the time. That's fine. That's the nature of the beast. But the formatting issue, it's not the writing itself. It's the formatting.
You're not talking about the content. You're talking about the presentation.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And it's Greg and Colin are the new Strunk and White. Oh my God. According to Christopher. All right, Greg. That's all the news. It is 11:43. It's a little earlier than usual. But let's jump in the comments and talk to our people.
Hey, people.
But first,
Yeah.
I think we should give away some prize and add to the prize.
Add to the prize pack. If you didn't know, each and every day here on Colin and Greg Live, we come to you at 11 a.m. We give you all the news, and then we add one piece to the prize package that we give away on Friday every week. Yesterday, what we added was the View XL. You take it, you put your phone in there, you put it up, and you got magnifying glasses to make it all cool. It also just looks cool if you do this. You can see, you watch your videos, you play your games. It's all, you could block out the sun. You could do it on a plane. You could lay next to your girlfriend and do it while she's sleeping. You can do a whole bunch of things that you can just, you can watch anything. You don't have to, where the light doesn't bleed out and hurt other people. You got that? And then we're also going to add Colin, this little Nintendo guy from the Loot Crate exclusives. You seen one of these dudes? If I pulled him out, you might see him.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen it.
He's got the arms. You pull him out. Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of things. It looks like a little NES cart. You stand it, then he's got arms that come out, and he's got legs, and you're like, oh my god, look at him. It's Corbin's Alley, Squid Kids Inc., 4 Geeks by Inc.
It's a take on Hogan's Alley, of course.
Is it? Well, I don't. Oh, the game. Okay, yeah. I'm not briefed on my NES game. Now, if your NES cartridge was bent like this, you think it would still work?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not. I had my Mega Man 2 cartridge had a piece of sand in it when I was a kid, so I unscrewed it and took the. I don't know if you ever unscrewed an NES cartridge. It's just a chip laying in a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
And I got the sand out, but then I couldn't get the cartridge back together properly, and I Scotch taped it together.
Nice.
And it still works.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a cool one. That's a good one.
Because the pin connectors in the NES and the regular NES, this is why the NES never works. Is because they sit here and the cartridge goes up against it and the pins start getting bent like this. But and the reason why you would jump up and down next to an NES, it would reset, is because the pins just sit on each other.
Interesting.
And so, which is the stupidest fucking thing ever. And I have no idea why they did that. The Famicom wasn't like that. The top-loading NES wasn't like that. SNES and Super Famicom weren't like that. Only the NES, where it was just like...
They learned their lesson.
So dumb. So dumb.
Zyger was with me last night for my entire Walking Dead stream that went for 19 hours. He says the official Kinda Funny pizza tally results are in. 96 pizzas were consumed in some fashion while we did the Walking Dead stream. 82 were ordered and 14 were homemade. That's a big number on homemade. I don't think he means like they got the dough and they were punching it out and rolling it and doing this thing. I think maybe this is you tear the box, you toss it in, but still impressive numbers, Colin.
It is. Let's see. Yeah, people are saying you look tired, Greg. I think you're more tired than you're letting on.
I'm not saying I'm not tired.
You said you were feeling good.
I feel good, but I think you've seen me already throwing punches here that aren't connected.
Yep, I have.
I'm like a shadow boxer out here. Thanks for subscribing, Locky Gamer.
Whatever. I'm going to touch on this. Autowatts says props to Colin. He's really growing into the role of host. Congratulations, man. Greg, as the longtime host of Podcast Beyond and also the host of your other shows and the host of Game Over Reggae Show on youtube.com/kindafunny, how am I doing?
You're really good.
Because I don't really get the host credentials. I'm usually the writer or something else.
Yeah. You're good.
I'm trying to hang in there.
You're doing real well.
As best I can. People are, hopefully it's resonating with our people.
I think so. We have, what, 6,500 people watching right now? You're doing fine. Everybody likes the show.
Everybody.
Everybody likes it. I've never heard someone say they don't like it. And if they do, I shoot them. And I bury them.
Holodrum says, can't remember, did you guys talk about Scream Ride? The demo is out now. It seems a bit naff. I don't know what that means. Even for $40. We talked about it yesterday. So you can go back and do VOD here on twitch.tv/kindafunny games and check it out.
We weren't super pro. I played it. I was like, all right, whatever. This reminds me of Pain.
You be the man. God,
you be the man.
Moving so goddamn quickly. Wait, here he is. You be the man says, how much do you guys love Ape Escape, and do you think we'll ever see another one? Come on, shoot. I think we will see another Ape Escape. We just saw one a couple of years ago. People forget that a new one came to PS3, but it was a downloadable game. I think it was a PlayStation Move game.
Yeah, that's what I forget.
Shuhei tweeted a really awesome picture a few days ago of a reunion dinner he had with the original Ape Escape team. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see this. I'll try to bring it up.
I remember very clearly when Ape Escape came out, and it wasn't a game that interested me, but I think I told the story before about how what I remember most about the original Ape Escape is my neighbor coming over to borrow my DualShock controller because they could not play it without it. It was the first, Ape Escape was the first game that required DualShock. Yeah, and this is the picture. The original Ape Escape team, 15 years after release.
I'm so happy to be together again. Oh, look at their shoe. Just chilling.
Pretty cool.
This guy's really happy.
Yeah, he's stoked. I love the Japanese game industry, man. I wish I knew more about it, actually.
First comment, make a sequel already.
I'm sorry.
I have no love for Ape Escape.
Yeah, I don't really care about it either, but a lot of people do care about it.
Sure, I'm not saying that. The question was, do we care?
And of course, Spike was the ultimate character in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Had that dash move that killed me all the time. Or whatever, I guess just a spearing move.
Stepladders 44 says, Colin, where does Final Fantasy X rank in your top Final Fantasy games? Very low, very low. I don't know what my order would be. Like 6, 4, 9, 5, 3.
I love the way you're saying the numbers.
1,
6,
2, 7,
4.
8, 12, 10, 13. I think it would be something like that. Yeah.
Did you put the MMO one in there anywhere?
No, I didn't play 11 or 14.
Okay.
Let's see. Someone was talking about Super Monkey Ball, which is another game I didn't really care about. People really love
There's
Super
been
Monkey
a
Ball.
lot of Super Monkey Balls, though. Super Monkey Ball.
One on Vita.
Yeah, there's one on Vita. Banana Splits, right? Whatever. I think it was Banana Splits. Porty tell them.
Greg, you can take this one. Kubi69420 says, do you think we'll ever see more Jack and Daxter?
I think you will, yeah, for sure. I think, you've seen Sony try it with, what was the Frontier game? New Frontier? Final Frontier? Remember that one? The one that was PSP?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Giving it to another studio. Obviously, you're not going to see Naughty Dog come back to it. But that's another franchise that has that thing to it. And eventually you could bring it back and make people excited for it again when they want to do another platform, when they want something like that. And you can see that on PlayStation 4, downloadable title, PSN, get somebody out there, get somebody to care about Jack again. Or it could go the opposite direction and actually be a disc-based release, right? There's got a whole bunch of money thrown behind it, da-da-da-da. I think downloadable is probably more common, more exciting to them. And you've seen them chase it with Ratchet & Clank, continue to put out Ratchet & Clank and try to make that work. Jack and Daxter I always thought is on the same level, but it's just that you haven't seen any commitment to it in terms of let's put out 1 million Jack games like they put out Ratchet games.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I mean, my personal opinion is I'm not quite sure I understand the love of Jack and Daxter, especially compared to Ratchet & Clank, which I think are better. Better games, more interesting characters, better worlds,
You figure
but
Jack
people really
1
love
was
those.
just a platformer. It wasn't about weapons
Right.
and guns and crazy shit like that. You had to go through an upgrade. And then Jack 2 started chasing that and went GTA with it. You know what I mean?
You can't really deny the effect. Well, first of all, GTA had an effect on both of those series. They talk about that in History of Naughty Dog that I wrote. But you can't deny the love that people have for Jack and Daxter. It's just not a game that resonates with me at all.
Sure.
Did
you play them when they came out?
Yeah, no. I didn't play them until... well, in any substantive way until the collection came to PS3.
Oh, wow, really? Okay. Yeah, I played Precursor's Legacy, the original one I remember playing. I got it off when Blockbuster had the gaming deal. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. The gaming deal where it was, whatever, $10 and you got to rent as many games as you wanted for the month or whatever. Did that and then fell in love with it there. Bought Jack 2, bought Jack 3. Jack 2 was so awesome. Jack 3 is the one everybody really loves, they say. It's you either love Jack 1 or you love Jack 3. I love Jack 2 just because it was so... It was the evolution of what I wanted, I felt at the time out of it. Like, now I think of it and I'm like, oh, well, Jack Precursor's Legacy was more interesting, right? When they were platforming straight up. But Jack 2 then all of a sudden jumped to that open world thing. To have guns to customize. To have Jack talk. To have, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is what I wanted as a step away from what it was before.
Right.
But you don't know what you have till it's gone.
That's true. Aaron P94 said a little while ago, any love for Evolve, guys? I just don't think we care about this game. Like, I don't... It's not that it's going to be bad. It might be great. I think a lot of people are enjoying the hell out of the game. It's just, I don't think we want to be, again, disingenuous with the games we cover.
I want to give it a shot. I want to give, because like I always say, I enjoyed it so much at preview events and in, all this other event coverage. When I go to 2K to play with IGN, when I play it with Operation Supply Drop at PAX, I have it. There's no time. We just don't have time to go through and do that. And when I do have time, like tonight, when I finally have time to do something, I'm going to beat the order, right? Because I want to be ready for our review discussion. But we're going to finish this, and then we have to figure out how we're going to film like 4 other videos, if there's a Let's Play salvageable, all this different shit needs to happen. Like, all this content needs to get made in the middle of the day, too. Let alone...
Well, Let's Play is broken that we recorded?
Yeah, for some reason, the 2 Smashes we did, for some reason, this doesn't make any sense. The Wii U didn't output sound on the video game side. So...
That's not a big deal.
I know, but I don't want... what I'm going to do is put them together today and see if you... Because, like, we play with ambient sound, obviously, right? So we can hear it, too, if that's enough, if you can hear that. Because I don't want it to be weird and have no sound when you're playing.
Yeah, I understand that. Let's do one more question, then we'll go into sub-only chat with our subscribers. Whippy Eye says, I won't count this, but Whippy Eye says it's a flash in the pan, it won't last for Evolve. I suspect that might be true in the sense that when you release a game in a multiplayer environment that requires people to play it together, even though I think there is like single player options in the game.
Are there?
I think so.
Okay.
It limits and hinders the ability of the game to grow and sustain itself, especially when people just play the same shit over and over again, whether it's Dota or League of Legends or Call of Duty. You can't. It's hard in DC Universe, of course. It's hard to kind of elbow your way in there. Let's see. I want to use one last question here. That's a good one.
Okay. I'm begging you to pop it out and blow it up. I feel bad for your eyes, Colin.
It's not. I can see when you have it here, you only have 6 or 7 things here.
Sure.
I have maybe 15.
But if you were to blow it up, you could. I mean, I'm just saying, blow it up a little bit, like pop it out and take up this and just cut it off there. That way, if anything ever happened with the window, you'd still see it.
Lil Drew 828 says, "My God, Porty is so cute." Nah.
He's a good dog. Everybody loves that dog.
He's a little son of a bitch.
A little son of a bitch.
Crazed Zealot says, "I love Titanfall, but it's fallen off since it came out. I think Evolve will be the same. I think Titanfall is a great example. Everyone thought Titanfall was going to be the biggest fucking thing in the world, and it wasn't.
Sure.
And it's because the audience came and went. They came as quickly as they they left as quickly as they came. And we touched on that before. All right, that's a few comments. That's enough, Greg. Let's go into sub-only chat.
Remember, if you're a subscriber now, you can chat with us. If you're not a subscriber, hang out. Keep listening to us discuss the news and talk to the other subs. If you are a sub, you can now chat. You get a cool, kind of funny symbol next to your name. You get emoticons. You get this private chat time. You get automatically entered to win the Friday giveaway. If not, you just have to be here and then put your name in the thing, and it's all set. All sorts of crazy stuff,
Colin. Here's a counterpoint to what we were saying. Box's Best says, people that compare Evolve and Titanfall do not understand the depth of Evolve. I think that there's a point to be made there in the sense that Titanfall didn't seem deep at all.
Sure. All you did was gen up and then reset and go out. Whereas this one, you have to play to unlock monsters, unlock new skills.
Right. So I think that there might be a hook there, like a carrot on the end of the stick to keep people playing. So that is an interesting and I think valid point. That said, I also think that just multiplayer games in general, regardless of how deep or not they are, will suffer from the same problems of community. Like a game like that requires a dedicated community. When you make a game like Evolve, you have to really keep your fingers crossed that you're going to hold your people there for a long time. Yeah. It didn't work for Titanfall. It doesn't work for most games, actually. Most online games, whether it's smaller games like Starhawk or bigger games like like a Battlefield game, eventually will lose their audience, and so it's a timing issue. But Evolve, I think, came out at the right time of year for that. Don't want to release it during the fall. They'll never win there.
Sure. It just feels like I don't see enough. I don't see a lot of people talking about it. And granted, we always talk about the echo chamber. We're in the games journalism echo chamber, right? Where a lot of people I follow are in the same industry as us. So maybe they're too busy playing Dota, too busy playing League to jump over and do this. I don't know how it's doing mainstream-wise or with a larger audience. I guess the chat could tell me. Chat, are you playing Evolve? Let me know.
Trip Monkey says, seeing as you both worked as professional writers, have either of you ever thought about writing a novel? Doesn't matter what genre. I've thought about it. Writing is hard, and I love to write. And I am working on a really awesome project right now that I hope to be able to tell you guys about soon. But
yeah.
I've never thought about. I've thought about novels. I have ideas for novels, but nonfiction is more my speed in terms of writing and reading.
Yeah.
So for me, not really.
Yeah. No, I've thought about writing fiction in terms of like a comic book or kids books or something like that. But like a novel itself, I don't have any real interest in writing. And it's coming in a lot of nopes on people playing Evolve.
And some people saying they play every night. One guy saying he's playing it by himself and having a good time. So it's I think it's all about like kind of different strokes kind of thing,
Yeah. Well, the world don't move to the beat of just one drum.
Yamigara says, "What do you think the best '80s movie is?" Really?
No, I mean, like, what does that even mean? The best
movie your favorite
in the 80s?
Yeah, like maybe your favorite '80s movie.
I mean, when you think, I'm drawn to Ghostbusters, but I think Ghostbusters is timeless in a way, right? Like, I don't think you look at it like, oh, '80s. You know what I mean? When I think '80s, I think John Hughes, I think Breakfast Club, stuff like that, Pretty in Pink, right? Those kind of movies. 16.
Yeah, I think Caddyshack is 1980, so technically it's an '80s movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think Breakfast Club obviously is one of those movies. St. Elmo's Fire, and I guess really all of those teen movies that we watched. These people grow up as they did all these movies. I think were really, really awesome. '80s is a really special time for movies. There's all sorts of weird ass '80s movies too, like 3 O'Clock High. You ever see that one? That's a great movie.
I don't know if I did.
Back
What
to
is it?
school.
Back
3
to
o'clock.
school.
3 o'clock high is about a kid that's getting bullied, and it's like he has to meet the bully at 3 o'clock or whatever. It's like there's all these
Is it
awesome.
serious or is it comedy?
No, it's comic. There's
There's so many great comedies in the 80s. 80s was such a fun time for movies.
Yeah, it was just I mean, the 80s is I think special. A lot of people look at the 90s as being special, and they were special too. But the 80s, there was something about the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Let's do 3 more questions.
3 more questions for some of the chat.
Rufus Germ says, "Why don't more people discuss Dark Souls 2? I think that game was in the top 3 games of last year, easy." I think a lot of people talk about Dark Souls 2.
We don't usually.
We don't.
Sorry.
Again, like I just don't think
Disingenuous.
it's
Yeah, we didn't
something
feel it.
we
I'm
care
really
about.
excited for Bloodborne. Bloodborne, I think, is going to be the first Souls kind of game that I really get into.
And I think that, I'm going to try Bloodborne and see what happens. But, it was the same thing I did with Assassin's Creed. Remember when I was like, I hate Assassin's Creed, I don't want to play it. And everyone's like, well, you didn't give it a chance. So,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
didn't you? Like,
so I platinumed Assassin's
hate
Creed
it.
too, because I'm like, I still don't like it, but I couldn't have possibly played it any more thoroughly than this. I did the same thing with Dark Souls in the sense that when I did my retirement vacation last year, which was the week I took off in May, when I just pretended I was retired, I played nothing but Dark Souls that week. And I still don't like it. I think I understand it a little more, but I'm like, I just don't...
Not your cup of tea.
I just don't like this. Like, it's just not fun. This is not a fun game. For me.
Yeah. Makes sense.
For other people, it certainly is.
Porty, what are you doing? Running down the hall back and forth.
Yeah, he's onto
a burglar. There's a burglar in his house.
The weird thing about Portillo is just the incessant jingle jangle.
Jingle jangle of him. You always know where he is. He's getting into shenanigans. Porty, you getting into shenanigans?
Why are you talking to Portillo like that?
How am I talking to him?
You getting into them shenanigans?
Hey, Portillo, what you doing over there? You getting into them shenanigans? What if he came back and he said yes? Just that's all he said, and then he went back to just being a dumb dog.
2 Rounds Left says, do you guys, the entire Kind of Funny group, pick up any collectibles on your own dime versus the swag you get from conventions? Yeah, I mean, when I went to PlayStation Experience, I spent quite a bit of money there.
Portillo, come here.
The PlayStation logo shirt that a lot of people like is something that I bought. Yeah, we buy, we don't really so much get swag anymore. I feel like getting swag, like publishers will send you games and send you shit or whatever to put on your desk or give away or whatever. I feel like that's kind of waned in recent years. I don't know if you agree with that. Even when we were at IGN still, I feel like that waned. And our gain is kind of your gain because a lot of the shit we've been giving away is just shit we are tired of holding on to. That we like just things we've
not even
accumulated
as much as like we just don't have time for it. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
we have places for it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like I am a minimalist in the sense that like I don't want all of this stuff, even if it's cool. Like, like I tweeted out a picture a few weeks ago of the shelf in my room where I just put all my nerdy stuff on one shelf, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like I have to be a 30-year-old man now. I can't have like shelves adorned with video game stuff and all of this crap everywhere. Like, you just gotta kind of draw the line somewhere. So with the particular swag we get or whatever, the things that I like that we get or whatever, maybe I'll keep or put on the wall around here and we do that kind of stuff. But I'd like to give it back to the audience.
Yeah. It means it's always one of those things that it means more to the audience than I think it means to us, if that makes sense. And not in a dick way. It's just like we are desensitized to it. Now, you were talking about you think it's come down in recent years, months, whatever. I think that for sure, I think we've lived fat on the hog and then seen the dire times too. I think it's come up recently in terms of like our 8 years, but I think they're in the middle when like the recession was really hitting and like you saw like remember like the giant events we used to go to, right? Like when you went to the one like some of the Bethesda things you've gone to, the big ones are like when Nate and Damon went to see Shaun White snowboarding on like a mountain or some shit like that, or when I used to do the old Sierra crap. Those events fell down by the wayside, and so I think did some of the stupid swag you get. But now because like remember when like Dante's Inferno was coming out, and they did like fucking ridiculous shit.
It was what EA did with Dante's Inferno. I thought was clever, but not smart.
Ill-advised, yeah.
Like one of the things that they sent was a check, right?
Yeah, they sent Roper a check for greed. So like for every one of the seven deadly sins, they'd send out a mailer or something. So like gluttony came with this giant cake that we could eat at the office, and everybody's like, "Oh, cool, whatever." And then they eventually sent Roper like a $200 check. Yeah, and it was like, you can either cash it yourself, and if you don't, we'll give it to charity. And Roper made a video of him tearing it up, and like so that was like the one that broke the industry's back, where everybody's like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, it was literally all we're called money hats every day.
I thought I remember it being in the moment with Dante's Inferno, being like, "That's really smart to be like it's like 7 or whatever." It's like greed and gluttony and all these kinds of things, but like you can't send people money. That's insane. That you couldn't have been more clever. That said, I remember that scheme or whatever, and thinking like, well, that's kind it's a nice way to get people to talk about your game, but not. They don't want them to talk about it in this particular way. You want to be clever. Like sit down for 5 more minutes and figure out how you can do greed without money. You know what I mean? Or how you can exhume greed without money. I mean, it wouldn't have been that hard.
Yeah. But now we're getting back on the thing where you are getting weird stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and you said something about events, particularly like when we go to Utah, you have to go to Japan, or
Japan.
Go to France for the
Ubisoft, anything.
Yeah, well, Ubisoft, or for Beyond Two Souls and all this kind of stuff, or like go to Sweden to see, XYZ. It's like I fucking hated that shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I really did.
Yeah,
like I like
again, it wears thin fast.
Yeah, it really does. Like people are like, oh, you get like what's so funny to me is that people are like, oh, well, journalists are bought off because they get to travel everywhere and whatever. And it's like, I don't think what you understand is that no one wants to.
All
like,
we want is send us the fucking game.
Yeah,
so
it's like
play it and talk about it.
It's like we want to play Assassin's Creed. We're sending you to Italy. It's like, oh god, like it just ruins your week basically. I never had to go to Italy to see Assassin's Creed, but like we've had people that had to go to Europe or whatever to see these one games, and it's just a fucking waste of time. And I think what's so funny is that people are like, oh, it's buying off and getting. It's like, no, it's
a huge
fucking annoying, obnoxious.
If anything, it's an easier way to turn us against your game. You know what I mean? Just in the way of like, come on, like, cause I don't. It's the same thing I always talk about. When I started the job, the two things I didn't expect were the internet celebrity and the travel. And both of those were stupid because I idolized Dan Shu, and I just never thought somebody would idolize me that way. And then travel because I never thought when somebody's like, we're in France seeing this game, that they're in France, that they flew 12 hours to get there and then had to do it and fly home. And like, there's a real life here. You have to, where's Portillo going to stay, and who's doing the bills, and how am I getting to the airport?
And how's your other work getting done? That was a big thing for me. It's like, great, I got to go to, I have to go just to LA for a few days. It's like, that just ruins... that ruins like my whole cadence, like my whole ability to get anything done or whatever. It's just funny the perception versus the reality. I think with some of these things. Sure. But I do remember that Dante's Inferno thing was insane.
Thank you.
Too bad. Thank you. Final question comes from Paul 4W. Says, Greg, have you tried the Retron 5? I am thinking of saving for one.
It's right over there. It is still boxed. This is one of the things we got, and we were like, well, should we actually do an unboxing? And then I was like, well, if we're going to unbox that, we should probably unbox the 20th anniversary PlayStation 4 too. So it's in the unboxing queue right now. We want to do it, and I want to use it for Let's Plays, hopefully as soon as next week. So we got to get on that soon. Maybe today even.
Fantastic. Greg, it's 12:05. It's time to go.
Okay.
Are we streaming anything today? I don't think so, because we have to record a Game Over Greggy's show, so I don't think we are streaming.
Yeah, unless there was something you're planning to do in the middle of the day, or even later in the
day. I do want to play Castlevania Symphony of the Night at some point, so we can start to pave the road for that.
That is the book club. It's going. A lot of you are playing it. Thank you so much.
But
maybe not today. Maybe today, maybe not today. I have a feeling even with the downtime we have in the middle of the day here, we're going to be filming stuff, so probably not.
Yeah, probably not. We apologize. We're trying to get better.
You're getting all the content. You benefit from it, so I'm not going to apologize for too much. I wish we could stream more. Hopefully, we hire people one day, and then we can stream more.
Yeah, but once... I apologize in the sense that I'd like to do something more consistent.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. I'd love to have it, that we know that Tuesday is going to be this. But you get this every day, and you hear us bitch about it. Thursday, 5 a.m. We're streaming the order. That's good. That's the other thing, too, is like, I'm going to make time today to finish the order, but I can't stream that. You know what I mean? That's the other trade-off of, like, when we get stuff early, how do I get it out to people?
But we will stream the order 5 a.m., starting 5 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday, which is the 19th. And we'll start to give you our impressions. We are planning 2 different videos for the order, I think. Are we going to talk about these?
Let's talk about it right now. This is the whole thing we talk about with the crowd all the time. Tim raised a good point. Colin and I's idea with the order was that 5 a.m. the embargo lifts. Boom, we start streaming it, that's going. But then over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, we put up a review discussion like we did with 50 Shades of Grey, where you and I just talk about the game or whatever, and then maybe a spoiler cast later that same day, whatever. A spoiler cast and a review discussion. But then Tim asked me, he's like, what would the difference be? And I was like, well, the spoiler cast will be about the story of it all, and then the review discussion will include everything, including story. And then I was thinking about, like, well, how much do I have to say about the story too? Do I have enough going that I want to talk about that all to itself in a spoiler cast? Or, that was my thing. Like, I don't know. And now we're getting into, like, how much we can say publicly about what we're playing.
Well, I mean, this is the point I brought up when I brought up the idea of doing 2 videos anyway, was that I think it made more sense as one, but you can make an argument for 2 videos as well.
Now I'm sorry.
My fear, though, about the spoiler cast being integrated into the review discussion is that reviews are technically spoiler-free. So if we start getting into the nitty-gritty of the story, I think that's going to preclude a lot of people from watching that.
And so that's maybe when we turn off the camera, that'll be our discussion of how much do we have to say about the story. If it's a huge point and it's going to be something we want to go back and forth on for 7, 10, 15, whatever minutes, then sure, maybe we should. But if it's just one of those things of like, we're going to say, and the story is X, Y, and Z, and then, but what did you think about gameplay? What did you think about this? What did you think about the aliens that come at the end?
Right.
And
That was the craziest part.
All the Lycans up, and it turns out it's all happening on the back of a flea.
And what I was going to say, my impression was that it was actually a Resistance crossover.
Yeah.
And that you end up on the Chimeran homeworld. Oof. We'll figure it out.
Unpack.
We'll figure it out. But we guarantee you, towards the end of the week, starting
videos.
Thursday morning, we're going to have a lot of the Order 1886 stuff. That is in our wheelhouse very much, and we have a lot to say about it. So stay tuned for that. We'll have a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Again, Castlevania Symphony of the Night on PS1 is our video game book club game of the month. I will be your curator this month. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Remember, if you want to take part in that, you can join us. You have to play the game. Please beat the game. Not a very hard game to beat. It's just going to take a little bit of time. You can play it on PS3, you can play it on Vita, you can play it on Xbox 360, you can play it on your PS1, you can play it on Saturn. So there's a lot of different ways for you guys to play the game. And I know a lot of you guys have your Saturn still hooked up.
Oh, yeah. People are kicking that Saturn around right now.
More procedural things. We appreciate you guys joining us. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm No Taxation. Greg is Game Over Greggy. All of us are Kind of Funny Vids. You can find official threads for us at NeoGAF on Facebook, on Reddit. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, etc., and so on. So please do follow us. Find our community wherever you want to be and join us there. YouTube.com/kindoffunny, YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames. We appreciate your support on Patreon. We appreciate your support on Twitch. That's all for now. We'll see you guys tomorrow right back here at 11 a.m. Pacific time at Kind of Funny Games, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames for more nerdy conversations and discussions and things of this nature.
Yeah.
Greg.
Yeah.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Okay.
You have to understand that I'm Geraldo. I'm not anyone to trifle with.